Hello, good morning. Oh, knocking stuff around there. Sorry about that. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Uh, you already know what today is. Today is the day that the Lord has made, and we are going to rejoice and be glad in it. Looking at the time, I am about 5 minutes tardy, and I apologize for that. I've been actually since yesterday afternoon just been spending time and communing with God. And this morning, uh, I was spending time with him, uh, trying to get confirmation as it relates to what I was going to share, what I was going to speak to, how I was going to navigate all of these different things. And so I believe it's somewhere on your screen or somewhere, because we normally set it up every week, that we this morning are scheduled to teach and to talk about and preach about triumphing our trials. And we were going to use, or hear that word were, we were going to use James, the first chapter, verses 1 through 4, as our backdrop to pull all of this from. But as he does so many times with me, God has me go in a different direction. So next week, and I invite you to come out and worship with us here physically if you're in the local area at 24 Triangle Park Drive, 24 Triangle Park Drive next Sunday at 10 a.m. If you're physically able, come out and worship with us in person. But we will dive into triumph in our trials using those verses in James for our backdrop on next week. Uh, for today, the thing that God had in my heart and in my mind all day yesterday, as I uh, processed and was just in communion with Him on yesterday, is that these are such um, I think I'm gonna use the word complex. These are such complex times that we are in right now. And the thing that was just so profound in my spirit is that these are moments that we don't need to minimize the power of prayer, and we don't need to miss out on the connectedness and the unity of family, whether it be biological family, extended family, or family by way of proximity. Those family members that might not be blood, but through trial and tribulations and good times and hard times, we now identify them as family. So prayer, just the power of prayer and the impact of family is something that is so critical in terms of where we find ourselves in this particular season of life. And so for those of you that might have been following our ministry for a while, or for those of you that have been worshiping with us, I'm sorry, for a while, you understand, and you have more than likely witnessed that we are a ministry, and I am a pastor that does our and my utmost to just try to follow the will and the spirit of God in each and every moment. We try to make sure that it's not about us. That yep, I've spent hours and hours formulating and getting ready to present this to you today. But it's not about the time I spent and the things that I want to share. It's about what God would have me to do and what is the most beneficial thing that He would have me share with you all in this moment. And so, as I sat around yesterday and I watched one football game after another, that's what it appeared I was doing. But as I sat there and the football became the backdrop, by the way, Roll Tide. But as football became the backdrop, I was really just trying to hear God and say, okay, God, I think I hear what you're saying, but are you sure that is what you were wanting me to do? And around 11:30 came, and Michelle came to check on me to make sure I was good. And I'm like, I'm fine. And then 1 a.m. came, and she's like, hey, I just it's 1 a.m. and tomorrow, you have to preach, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then around 3 o'clock, she didn't go to bed because I was not yet in bed. And so, came to say good night. Now, are you okay? And you know what you have to do in the morning. I'm like, yeah. And so finally, about 3:15 this morning, we go get into bed. But during all of that time, I'm trying to hear and make sure I am hearing from God, from God. So today, what the thing that God has pressed into my spirit, and I get concerned sometimes out of my humanity to say these statements and to do these things, but I should embrace by now that each and every time that God would have me do something like this, I get feedback. Pastor, that is exactly what I needed, or Pastor, we did what you said, and we saw movement in this area that had not moved in a long time. Or Pastor, we went and did that, and you would not believe who we ran into when we did that thing. And so, I should not be as consumed and concerned to share these things when God would have me to do it. But out of my humanity, I am. The thing that God has in my spirit today, as we spoke about, prayer and just the connectedness, the power of prayer and the connectedness of family. And so the thing that God laid on my heart and in my spirit during this time, that so many of you have set aside, time that's uninterrupted, time that you did not plan to do anything else with. It's in my heart. It's been in my heart for the last over 24 hours. That what God would have us to do today, what I prepared and what I wrote to say today is not going anywhere. It'll be available for us on next year. But the best use and the godly use of our time this morning is just to use this time that has been set aside to commune with God in prayer, to tap into the power of prayer for your individual lives, for the lives of our ministry and of various ministries, and for the life of our country. So be specific in this particular moment about praying for your family, praying for your specific ministry or this particular ministry, and praying for our particular nation. All of the things that we see happening, all of the things that we see going on, the direction that it appears that we are headed, those cities that are being occupied by military forces. Pray for our country. Pray for our leaders. Pray for those that are bold enough to stand up and not go along with the status quo. So the power of prayer, that's one of the things that we want to tap into during this time that has been set aside. And then just the community of family. There are so many of us that get caught up, we get wrapped up in the busyness, if you will, of life, whether it's work, whether it's other activities, whether it's commitments, no matter what it may be. There are so many times that we are in the midst of our family. And so on one hand, we're present, while at the same time, even though we're in the midst of our families, we are preoccupied by something else. So we're present but absent at the same time. And so the other thing that God will place him into my spirit as it relates to today, be intentional about spending time with those closest to you in this particular moment. Whether it's just hanging out, I believe football is coming on soon, or actually it's one of those international games, so football might be on. So whether it's just sitting on the sofa watching football, or preparing breakfast together, or going out to brunch during this time, whatever it may be intentional about being connected to those that you consider your family in this moment. Two things: tap into the power of prayer and be present within the community of family. I know it may not seem conventional. It may not make sense for some of you. It really doesn't fully make sense to me. But the things that God placed in my heart for those of us, I believe, That's something that is paramount for the church universal in this particular season, but specifically for those that have tapped in or have tuned in right now, or for those that will watch this later. The thing that I believe God gave me for each and every one of us today is the power of prayer and the community of family. And that is how we will spend our time on this week. We will get into the teaching that I prepared for this week on next week. But today, please don't just click off and say, yep, I can go do whatever I want to do. Today, please tap into the power of prayer and the community of family. That is our declaration. That is our mandate in this particular moment. Listen, God bless you. Again, may not make a whole bunch of sense, but I pray that you are obedient to the leading and prompting of the Spirit in this moment. The power of prayer and the community of family. God bless you. We look forward to worshiping with you again on next week. Be blessed.